love everything football? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Beyond the Touchline, a Football Manager Central podcast with your hosts, Paul, Ryan, and Colin.
What is going on, guys? Thank you for joining us and welcome to Beyond the Touchline. It is the 8th of the 2nd. I am Paul and we have Colin and Ryan as always. Good evening, people.
Good evening.
How are you?
Ducky, how are you?
Yeah, I'm surviving. I was discussing how I did not watch the Super Bowl. I crashed at about midnight my time and woke up at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, sometimes you just have those days.
I have no idea what happened. My alarm went off at 8 o'clock. I pressed snooze. The kids had gone to school with my missus, and then next thing I know, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm slowly waking up.
Sometimes those are not bad days to have.
No, Ryan wasn't too impressed, so how are you, Ryan?
I'm very well. Busy day, but happy to be home now.
Yeah, I noticed that when you posted in a chat we have just kind of slightly irate, to which I replied, I've just woke up. I do apologise for having a beautiful sleep, but I'm not sorry.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. But let's get into some football talk. So I think the main topic of the weekend was one, that Jurgen Klopp missed the game. He's now back fit. A day after the operation, he took press conference, confirmed he's going to be back for the FA Cup replay this week. He missed the game, and during the game, Liverpool were 2-0 up. And on the 77th minute, a fans' walkout took place, Ryan.
Yeah, it's never something I agree with. A protest or leaving a game in whatever minute they decided. 77th minute, I think it was, because of the £77 they have to pay. But I can understand it in this sense because ticket prices in English football are becoming outrageously big. I mean, who wants to pay £77 to go and watch Liverpool? I think Chelsea, they get up to £82. Arsenal's probably even more because that's going further into London. Who has got the money to keep spending that week in, week out? I certainly don't.
Well, I think when you look at Chelsea's ground, just to throw that in there, Chelsea's ground's on like the most popular street in terms of drops down under the river, very close to this Oxford Street, etc. Well, not very close, but close enough. Chelsea's ground's situated in a place where it's, as you say, they can charge crazy prices because they're in a very busy, very popular city. But prices in general, I think, are mental. When you think that the Premier League signed a record $5.14 billion TV rights deal, and this is not Spain where Barcelona and Real Madrid get all the money. The clubs get the money. The money is distributed around. And I think it's insane that any club should charge more than £20. I know there's the hashtag 20's plenty, for example, out there, and there's a lot of protests about the price, and I just think Liverpool fans protesting, I think, is definitely something that should have happened. Walking out of a game is something I'm not sure about because, well, one, you should support your team till the end. And if you look at it, Colin, they were 2-0 up when the fans walked out. The game ended 2-2. What kind of influence did that have?
My guess is probably very little. I think, the sentiment isn't necessarily, okay, I'm not opposed to the sentiment. I mean, we were talking today, so I found an article at Go Euro. It's the soccer, they call it the soccer price index. So they went through and actually looked, as of September 2015, leagues and average ticket price. So England was number one, right, at roughly $83 US for the average ticket price in there. And then the next two were Spain at $79 and Italy at $76.
I think, sorry, just to jump in, Colin.
Sure.
Second place, Spain at $78.
Mm-hmm.
Italy, third, was $76.
Right.
Now, you have Barcelona, you have Real Madrid. Then you go through, you have Atletico Madrid. Then you have Valencia. Then who we look now? We're looking at Sevilla, Espanyol, Real Sociedad. I'm sorry, but apart from Espanyol with the new ground, you go down the leagues, you've got Getafe, you've got Levante, you've got Eibar being in there, you've got Villarreal. These grounds are absolute dumps.
Well, even
absolute dumps.
I think it's one step worse than that. If you watch La Liga on any regular basis, the only two stadiums that have, that I would say sold out or even close are the Bernabeu and the Camp Nou. If you look, I mean, the rest of them, they're empty. It's almost embarrassing how empty it is. And Italy is just up there. I know how many times that the camera angles for the Serie A have been careful shooting at the San Siro to avoid the fact that when Milan's playing, the whole place is empty. So I think from that area, you get a much clearer message to the teams that, hey, ticket prices are a problem. I think, knowing the Fenway Group and a little bit about, the group that owns Liverpool and that, so the fans showed up, paid to be there, and then walked out. So as far as the message you sent to the Fenway guys, I don't think they care. You paid. You were there. They already made their money. Whether you wanted to sit there the whole time or not is your choice, but you didn't do anything negative to them. The team collected everything it cared of out of you because nobody's walking away in the 77th minute without, your concessions and all that at that point are all taken care of and bought. So you didn't really make any statement to the team. I think if, the Liverpool supporters had showed up and said, all right, next year, we're not renewing our season tickets, okay, maybe you've got their attention. But at this point, all you did was created a talking point to an ownership group that's not going to care because you didn't do anything to them. You gave them all your money already, so I'm not necessarily sure what the point of the walkout was.
Yeah, sorry about that. I dropped my cow.
No problem.
If you watch my series, you'd understand what the cow is. I think, as you said, the 77th minute part, I don't quite get, as you say, maybe boycott the whole game. And as you said, they don't get the money. They don't get any drinks, food, etc. Money as well. It's going to be a massive hit on them. They might wake up. Going down, how many times throughout this Beyond Touchline and before that the Monday night show, how many times did I say how bad the Spanish league is? In terms of stadium quality, camera quality, pitch quality, actual performance quality. So to see them in second at a 78.09 average ticket price, all I can assume is Barcelona and Real Madrid must be charging about 700-800 each, and the rest are charging 10 because I wouldn't be paying that much to go much any of the other crap. Going down, Ryan, in fourth place is Switzerland, who averaged a $52.78 ticket price. I mean, apart from Basel, who are you giving me $52 to go and watch, Ryan?
Outrageous. Have you not followed my Football Manager save? Apart from Basel, there's Zurich, Grasshoppers.
Yeah, but you wouldn't go and pay that much money to watch them, would you?
Switzerland, hey, come watch my football. I think everyone would pay $52.
Don't worry, I think Ryan's been drinking. I mean, we're going to skip past fifth place for now because we're going to go back and talk about that in a second. In sixth place, you've got Netherlands at $44. Again, really? I think they seem to be getting a bit confused what players are playing in that league. France in seventh at 41. Russia at 37. I mean, were they smoking when they came with them prices? Portugal in ninth. Now, here's the big one. 10th place, Germany. $35 average ticket price. I'm actually surprised it's that high, Colin, because we know how loyal German football clubs are to their fans. I think they look after their fans, and the fact that they are ranked second in the world in terms of league ranking, and they are 10th in terms of ticket price index.
Yeah, and I think some of it is a balance. So if you look at the stadiums, I'm sure that the general average ticket price it may be lower, and this is potentially offset with more like boxes and commercial things, which is a really popular thing in the U.S., which tends to skew a little bit of the average ticket price in a stadium depending on the overall balance. But I think if you look at those stadiums, though, they're the second highest spectator sport in the world and the number one soccer spectator sport. I mean, they're putting, I think it was like 35 or 36,000 people on average in there. Now, to me, if you've got a league where the average place is putting $35 in, and they're putting, an average of 35,000 seats in there. So let's just do some quick math, right? So that's 35 times 35,000. So you're making 1.2 million on average, right, per game in the Bundesliga in gate receipts for those teams. I think, to me, there's something inherently smarter about that, as terms of an average league place. So now let's go back to England, right? So let's say
do the Italian one, 76.98 per ticket by the 10 fans who turn up.
But so think about it, right? So I mean, there's been a couple of issues in Spain, especially with AC Milan, probably the most notorious, where they've had 1,000 people show up, right? So even if you do the quick math, right? They're only making $75,000 in gate receipts.
God, I hope you didn't use a calculator to do $78 by 1,000.
I didn't.
Okay.
But think about what it costs to open
some.
that particular stadium. Oh, I have something else going.
Sure.
In that, but if you think, right, so the average attendance in England, I think, is like 25,000, right? So if you do, the 82. So okay, fine. So you're making 2 million on average per game in a gate, in gate receipts.
Let's remember how many of them are season ticket holders. So you're looking at 70%.
Sure.
If not 65, 70%. So
right. So the thing that the question it raises to me is, okay, so at a really basic level, you're not making like wildly more, right? For almost 3 times the ticket price, you're making less than 50% more, right? So to me, what it tells you is it would make a lot more business sense to drop the average ticket price and increase the size of the stadiums, right? So if you did, let's go back to the thing, right? So if you do the $35 a seat like you have in Germany, but let's say you doubled the average attendance to 50,000 people in there, you're really not sacrificing a whole lot in your gate receipts. So you're making $1.75 million versus $2 million, but those extra 25,000 people in terms of shirts, concessions, drinks, right? You're going to make a tremendous amount more money on game day from the commercial support of the game than you would in just the pure gate receipt side of things. So to me, I think there is a distinct case to be looked at from a pure business side that I suspect if you dig into the Bundesliga numbers, you may end up with better club money on average from attending a day's events, having more people taking more advantage of the ancillaries, not just the ticket price to get in. And if you lower the ticket price, you're really just enabling people to spend more money in other places.
I think it's I agree with that, and I think one thing I've always wondered is now I know before season starts, Ryan, the idea of a season ticket money is to kind of get a bulk amount of money in, and to offer low value for people who want to go every single week. But fans sometimes can't afford a season ticket or can't find the time to go every single week. And there's now these situations where you can't even loan your season ticket to somebody in certain grounds, or you'll get your ticket took off you, which is just insane. So the question is, with the new TV money, with the money that certain clubs have in the bank, should a club in England take a stance and say, look, this season we're going to have no season tickets. This season all the money's going to be paid on the gate, and we're dropping our tickets to £30 a game. No matter where you sit, it's £30, 15 for kids or whatever. Would that work, or do you think season tickets are vital, Ryan, in some sort of spirit of knowing that you're going to be there every week? Or, I mean, what's your thoughts? Or would season tickets to only 10% work better? Or, I don't know, it's just kind of throwing some ideas out there.
Well, I think we've got to look at it that season tickets are, in effect, a business ploy for clubs to make money very quickly. When you look at the prices that people have to spend on season tickets for the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, they're
Well, if I'm right, Arsenal season tickets are around £1,000. Yeah, so if you So what's that? So you're looking 19 games at home, aren't you?
Yep.
So I mean, that's what I mean. What's that divided by? Is it like 50 divided?
Divide it by 10 and divide it by 10.
I'm whooping my calculator for. My calculator broke halfway through working it out. Divided by 19, you're looking at it's £52 a game you're paying. I mean, that is just insane for a season ticket price. I thought the idea was you save money with a season ticket.
It is, yes, but then if you compare that to what you actually have to pay to get into a single game, you are in effect saving money. If clubs go by on what you just said, oh, we're going to scrap season tickets and you come to the game, you have to pay this every single game, I think loyal fans that buy their...
Oh, I think I agree. Do you agree, Colin?
Yeah, I mean,
season tickets, season
Ryan,
in, season everywhere. Hang on, if you stop this, it's just a way for the.
He's still going. He's literally still going. Colin, one thing I did just sit down and work out. I don't know. Are you back, Ryan? He's not back. One thing I worked out, Colin, there was at £1,000 pop for a season ticket at Arsenal. Now, I work out it's about 70% of your capacity season ticket holders. So if you're looking at about 45,000, say, season ticket holders, that's £45 million on season ticket sales.
sure.
£45 million on season ticket sales. That is just... You can see why they do it. You've got two options. You hope the ground sells out every single week and sell tickets on the gate, or you make £45 million before ball's being kicked.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and to be fair, I think, to be totally honest, you guys are a little behind the eight ball in terms of American sports with how bad seasons.
Sorry, Colin.
I'm not saying this is in a good way. I'm saying it's in a bad way. So in this case, yeah, they get a $45 million bulk piece, and okay, you get your 19 seats in there. But huge things that have caused enormous issues in the U.S. with season ticket pieces is, one, they've started charging what they call sort of seat license fees, right?
Okay.
So like one of the big issues with baseball and to some football stadiums here is, so you pay a flat fee to the club for the right to buy the season ticket. So it's just an extra fee that the club gets. So take your 70% to Arsenal. So your season ticket costs you £1,000 to get the tickets to the game. Now imagine on top of that, you need to pay like £2,500 to the club for the right to secure your season ticket. So on top of the 45,000 you're making, there's another 115,000 or 115 million pounds that would show up on your doorstep. And a lot of it is, so okay, fine, you pay that once, and then as long as you keep renewing your season ticket, you don't have to keep paying that fee again. And okay, you can diversify it and some things like that.
But you can like change the seat to whatever you want.
No, you get your one seat, but you can, you have first right to that seat. You can will it down, and there's other things that you can do, but it's only your one seat. So like, for me, and this is part of why, like the article we were talking about says the U.S. is a terrible value, but
don't bring that up here.
Well, but from my perspective, it's, compared to the other sports that I have access to, it's an insanely good value, because I'm not in a position where I'm going to go and pay, thousands of dollars for a license fee and then pay thousands more dollars for a season ticket to go watch, baseball plus travel costs and things like that. Or, football's even worse because you only get eight home games a year in the NFL. And I'm not in a position, I'm not going to go out and spend, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 times the price for that experience in it.
No wonder you like soccer, sorry.
Yeah, it's a hugely cost-effective thing. I mean, for simplicity for me, right, the seats I have at Red Bull Arena, so I'm behind the I'm one section over and behind the goal on the opposite side from the supporter section in the stadium, and I'm 8 rows back from the field. So we're in good space. You can see the game really well. It's really quite nice, and it works out to be I get 17 home games, right? Because there's 34 league games a year in MLS right now, so I get 17 home games. I get any home U.S. Open Cup games except for the final. So in theory, I typically get at least one a year there. So that's 18 games. The club will then also, during sort of the summer break, gives me at least one friendly. So that's 19 games. And then this year, I'll get the 3 Champions League home games for the group stage in. So I'm up to 22 games there, and it's $400 a seat. So it costs me a little less than $20 a game for my seat, and then I have 2 seats, which for the entire season is like a third the price of the licensing fee to go see the New York Giants or the New York Jets. Forget even buying the ticket. It's just the licensing fee to get me the ticket.
That is insane, especially if now's a good time to say that. According to this, the average ticket price for the US, for the MLS, or is it the whole of the US leagues in general, is $46.22. So if that's the average price, but then when you sit down and look at how much you're paying, I think it's, as you say, that it's including the boxes, the commercial tickets.
So I would say from it's probably more MLS, although I don't know from the article. It didn't really specify if USL and NASL is in there. But I think it's, at least from a U.S. perspective, it's heavily skewed by premier seating and the boxes seating. Because, the average, the Red Bulls are in one of the biggest markets in the country and one of the biggest dollar ones, the same with, the LA Galaxy, and they're about the same price. Kansas City, no one's going to go out and spend $50 a game to go to Sporting Kansas City.
Kansas City.
But it's just a regional thing with the country. So I think a bit of it is skewed from that respect. So I don't think it's probably, for the average fan, it's probably not as big a deal as the article kind of makes it out to be.
I think the next one I just want to drop onto to continue this ticket price discussion is a league which you personally speak very highly of, the Mexican League.
Mm-hmm.
And they are coming in 24th out of the 25 leagues evaluated here at $11.72 on average a ticket. And that is insanely cheap for a league which you tell us week in, week out is a very good league to watch.
It is a really good league. I think some of what you're looking at there are just the economic realities of Mexico. I mean, it's a developing economy. For the most part, people are obsessed with the sport there. I mean, they have an incredibly rabid national and club level fan base, but just the sheer economics of the country dictate that you really can't you can't pay or really command a bigger premiums to that. And their stadiums are typically pretty full if you ever catch games.
I think we've got to ask Ryan. You back now? Fantastic.
I think so.
Yep, fantastic. Slowest reaction ever. We're going to get Ryan, as you talk, to pull his calculator and work out at 11.72 per ticket, Ryan. How much money would Club America make at a home game?
How many fans?
Well, that's where you're going to have to get on Google and find out the capacity. Now, I know the capacity is extremely large, Colin.
Yes, it is.
So that would be interesting to know, just out of curiosity, how much money they would make.
They play it as Azteca.
Yeah. And
what club again? Club America.
Club America.
Yeah,
I know the capacity is over 100,000.
Yes, they play at the Estadio Azteca. So let's just see here. I can help you. 95,500.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was about 105, Colin.
Record attendance was 119. So that's only seated room. It's not counted.
Okay.
So here, we'll use this. So the maximum record attendance was a Mexico versus Brazil game at 119,853.
Insane, isn't it? It's it's insane. I mean, just why you checking that? There's another list which is the best value for money league, and again, as Colin has rightly said, the US comes in last on that. But I think when you look at what Colin's saying in terms of how much he's paying per ticket, I think they should be a lot higher up in that league. And when you go through some of the nations in the top 10, I mean, if I had to choose to watch an MLS game or a Portuguese league game, who are in third, an Argentine in fifth, a Belgian league game in seventh, Italian in eighth, Turkish league in ninth, or Brazilian league in 10th, I would much rather watch the MLS than any of them. Mainly because if I went to watch a Brazilian game, I'd be scared I got shot. And Ryan has commented just to say that if at the ticket price in Mexico, if they didn't have a season ticket, it would make 1.154 million. That is an impressive amount for a Mexican club, just due to the size of the stadium. I mean, they obviously have a lot of expenditure costs, Colin.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a big, yeah, and that's just a pure, gate receipt revenue on it. But it does show you that, right? I mean, the balance between attendance, there's a good, strong relationship between the number of, sort of butts in the seat and the price each one pays to get you in there. And I think there's also a good, compelling argument that the ancillaries that putting a lot more butts in the seat with some extra disposable cash in their hand can generate for you. So, like, I think it's a good example of that, right? So my guess would be is that if you had, let's say you sold out the Azteca at 100,000 people at, $10 a seat there. So for $1 million, and each one of them has enough cash in their pocket to spend, another $30 on something else, okay, fine. You just had a $4 million day. Whereas you go to England and it's costing you $100 to put 25,000 people in there, fine, you're at $2.5 million. But how many of them have got how much extra cash on top of it do they have for buying something to eat or whatever? So at the end of the day, my guess would be is that to some degree or another, like a Mexico, like a Club America that could sell that out routinely, is probably actually got an edge by leaving more disposable income in the hands of the people coming to the stadium to put in other places in the stadium where, you get into almost more of an England issue where, okay, fine, you have people putting it into the local community before they get to the stadium, but other than the gate receipt, what are they, how much more are they really spending?
Yeah. I think I'm just looking at the top few in there. I've got to sit back. Ryan, I'm going to go to you for this. So let's go with the nation in second first. So according to this, the second best value for money, because they are ranked as the best league in the world, is Spain at 78.09 per ticket price. Because of them being the best league in the world, they come in as second best value. They're 8.9. I don't know what that percentage means. So Ryan, I've got to ask you, Levante versus Sevilla, Eibar versus Deportivo, Villarreal versus Espanyol. Would you pay $78 for any of them?
No.
Okay, now I'm going to go to the league ranked fourth at $82.60 per ticket price, which is England. So, third best league in the world according to the rankings. So let's go with Leicester versus Swansea, Sunderland versus Newcastle, West Brom versus Aston Villa. Would you pay $82 to see any of them? I think he's going to say no, Colin.
Leicester at the moment?
Possibly Leicester. So then you've got to go to the German one, which is ranked first. Now, you go down there, you've got, say, Hoffenheim versus Wolfsburg, Werder Bremen versus Stuttgart, Dortmund versus Mainz. Would you pay $35 to go and see any of them?
Yes.
Exactly. I think the German league is ranked second. The Spanish league is ranked first. That's a joke, let's be honest. If you remove Barcelona and Real Madrid, they'd be ranked below bloody Belgium. The English league, in my opinion, is the best league in terms of entertainment in the world. Colin, would you agree?
I think it's a pretty compelling argument for number one. I'm not sure they're as outright as they were a few years ago, but I think it's pretty compelling. Yes.
I think in terms of entertainment, you would not sit and watch a bottom of the table clash in any other division. In England, you would, because anything can happen.
I would give. Yeah. I'll grant you that. I think that's still the edge that England has over some of the other leagues. But yeah,
the whole league is more competitive. But the issue is, only in the German league, because of the price per ticket, would you pick any fixture off the fixture list each week and be happy to pay the price for. There are certain games, if West Brom came up against Norwich, you wouldn't pay $82 to go watch it. But if a bottom of the table clash in the German top division came up at $35 a ticket, $35 a ticket is not a lot of money at the end of the day, especially when you compare it to the prices. So you've got to say the German league has it right, because yes, the league in general, from 1 to 18 or 1 to 20, depending on the league, there's only the English league which holds value all the way down, but it doesn't hold the value they're charging. That's the issue, I would say, Colin.
Yeah, no, I would agree, and I think the thing that the German league has that if I was England, I don't think I'm concerned about, in the next 3 to 5 years, but I would be more concerned about as TV contracts renew in sort of that 5 to 10 year horizon is, from a U.S. perspective. So, right, the Bundesliga just launched in the U.S., sort of on national weekly TV coverage this year.
Oh, nice.
Every week that you watch, every single one of those stadiums is A, jam-packed, and B, going absolutely crazy every week. When you watch Premier League games, which have been on for several years, okay, the stadiums are largely filled most games, but rarely is the atmosphere the same. So what I would, from a global brand perspective, I think, I think the Germans have done a pretty good job, is that the product that they're putting out, because it's affordable, people are going, they're having a good time, and the whole polished product that's put out to the world looks absolutely fantastic. Whereas England, no offense, comes off a little stuffy when it's shown on TV. And okay, even a Merseyside derby, it doesn't really have all that much atmosphere that comes across on TV. Now, a Tyneside derby, okay, that does come across pretty good, but you can't really publish a polished product to the world where, twice a year a good derby game, kind of comes off. I think this weekend is a great example of it. Chelsea and Manchester United was at Stamford Bridge, came across so flat to me.
Let's be honest though. No disrespect to Chelsea fans, but you're a shit supporters. But I kind of expected a quiet game.
Right, but so take a flip of that, right? So the game that was going on that I had an option to watch at the same time was Darmstadt and Hoffenheim, right? And that stadium was going absolutely ballistic. And that was a newly promoted side against a relegation embroiled side at the bottom of the Bundesliga, and it produced a 2-0 game that was full of great counterattacking, and the stadium was jumping, flags waving the whole time. It was nuts. On the flip side, you have what should have been two of the most iconic clubs in the world, who are probably who should be two of the best clubs in the world, locking horns in what would be a world-class battle, and you'd swear to God you were watching tea time.
I think I completely agree with you. And as I've said, the atmosphere at the Man United Chelsea game was just dreadful.
It was so flat and underwhelming for what that should have been. I mean, you were talking about what by all accounts should be, okay, fine, ignore league position, right? The cataclysmic clash between those clubs should produce anything that smells of excitement. I swear people were falling asleep in that stadium.
I mean, I think a good example of it is a local game here I went to, and when Egerton were playing, I posted some video footage in the chat, and the crowd was singing before the game started. The atmosphere was building up, and there was only maybe 1,000 people there. And I would think it was louder than watching the Man United Chelsea game. But as you say, I think it's interesting that the German league's only just started to launch nationally over there. And I think what I would say as well is the German and Polish leagues are both available here as well on basic TV, not the premium packages, which the Premier League only is available on. So it's a lot easier, even in Norway, to watch the German league compared to the Premier League. And I think that, again, they're not being greedy, kind of demanding premium slots. They're happy to be on Eurosport, which is what it's on, and that's not available. Sorry, the Premier League's only available on TV2 Premium, which is just insane prices. And I mean insane prices. You're looking to be spending maybe $60 to $100 a month just to get the Premier League, and it's not happening. Like, I'd have to disown one of my kids to be able to get that.
Yeah, but but to that point of it, right? So you're locked into a situation where they're commanding a premium, but are you really getting every dollar of that value and that entertainment out of the product that you're watching?
Definitely not, because I can't understand the commentators until I learn the language better.
Well, that's more your problem than anybody else's. But but I think you have a really good point, right? So if given two options, right? So okay, fine, you're an English expat, but would you pay $100 a month to watch the Premier League, or $0 a month for your free access to the Bundesliga?
Exactly. Well, I mean, I pay for the TV package, the basic TV package anyway.
Well, right.
So it's like, it's no extra. It still obviously costs, but
Sure.
in total it's about $30 a month, where you'd be looking about $120, $130 a month if I wanted the premium packages which offer the football.
Right. Okay. So is the Premier League worth another
Not at
$100
all.
a month?
Not at all. Not when I can watch it a different way. It's just insane. I would rather just watch the highlights package, for example, on the TV2 news channel on a morning, which actually has an English highlights package on a morning. And yes, it doesn't show the full games, and yes, you only watch. It basically talks you through the results. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of money, and people have families, people have lives, people have bills you've got to pay. I don't go to work to watch football. I go to work to put food on the table for my kids, and I think it's just insane the TV deal they've just secured. As a prime example, the amount of money they've paid for it, it kind of makes you think, well, why couldn't they have paid less and just charge us less?
So I heard a so talking of that TV deal. So I heard a shocking statistic this morning. Said after the clubs this summer get the money from the new TV deal, the top of the top 30 wealthiest clubs in the world, 20 of them will be English.
It's just insane. And I mean, if you sit back and think about this, in England, Colin, you have a setup called Freeview, which it's started to become a lot more popular before I left the country. So you have your basic channels, which I don't know of. You have BBC One and 2, ITV, Channel 4 and 5, Ryan. Then you can get your Freeview box, which you pay for, then you don't pay anything monthly. Why couldn't somebody like the BBC get Premier League rights? I'll tell you why. It's because Sky paid 4-point-something billion for the TV rights just for themselves. Over 4 billion. Now, I'm sorry, but that is just an insane amount. There needs to be something put in place from the British government which says, look, it's at least a game a week should be made available for the general public who pay their TV license fee, who have the Freeview box. I think it's just a ridiculous, and it literally, you can't even imagine the amount they charge, and it's just insane. And you say something has to change, but we know it's not going to, because they're making money. They bring a lot of income into the country. The government's bending over backwards for them, so nothing's going to change. But I mean,
Well, so here's a bigger question for you, and I think to me this is sort of, so much at the center of this. So I think you're absolutely right with how much money's coming into those clubs. Is the product on the field getting any better even at a continental level that to justify how much money's coming in.
Well, I think no, it's not, is it? It's just an insane amount, an absolutely insane amount, and it's genuinely confusing how. I mean, I understand how big it is, but I think one thing that frustrates me, I assume that's a worldwide TV deal.
Yeah,
I would hope it's a bloody worldwide TV deal, because when you look at it, that how many games are available for yourself, Colin, in the Premier League each week, how many games on Norwegian TV, but yes, it's premium, but Norwegian TV available each week. Around the world, in Asia, you can pick, over here, I can pick which match I want to watch. They are available to select which one you want to watch. In England, you get a Friday night game and 2 on a Sunday. That's it.
Wow. No, with my TV
Oh, I'm
piece,
sorry, the Friday lunchtime.
So with my TV piece here,
Saturday lunchtime.
I get whatever game. So they'll choose, during the week. So a Monday through Friday, if it's a league game, right? They'll choose one game that's going to be broadcast on TV, but I have access as part of my standard TV subscription. I can watch any game that's being played. I can stream, so I could always at a minimum I can watch all of them going on if I wanted to. And on the weekends, they play the first game on Saturday, the first game on Sunday are the single ones live on TV. Then in the second bracket, so then Sunday they play the second one just live on TV because it's the only one that's going on. Saturday they'll put 2 on TV on 2 different channels, and every other game going on, I can access. I get access to. I can stream and watch. And then the final game of the day on Saturday is actually on the standard free over the air network TV here for English soccer.
I think we've got to go to Ryan and just say, Ryan, as the one person who lives in England, how do you think, in general, your access to the Premier League is compared to other countries?
So it's not great. It's whatever is put on telly is what we can watch without going on those streaming sites. So it's out there, but if you're going to go officially, then we have to go on whatever is on Sky, whatever gets put on ITV or BT Sport. But then for those to watch those, you have to pay for the services, and those services aren't cheap. So it's very minimal.
Now we all know there's basically a Premier League channel of some sort, which is it's run by the Premier League. I don't know where. I think it streams in the Middle East, I think, and it's English commentary, and that's where all the people around the world get the highlights packages from and commentate over. And I would assume that might be possibly what Colin can stream. I assume you have access to that, and it's literally just the Premier League logos in the corner of the screen, and that's how you know it's that service. Now I just can't get my head round why that's not available to people living in the UK. As basically, you are from this country, well, you live in this country, sorry, go to PremierLeague.com. As long as your IP is in this country, you have access to watch any game you want through the internet. I understand that's all about, well, don't allow that access because we want them to pay for this subscription. But what's more important, money or the fans? That's the question that's out there, isn't it?
But even that, right? So, like for me, for MLS, right? So MLS the TV deal for MLS says it covers the Friday night game. If your local team is playing on Saturday, then you'd get that, and then the 2 Sunday games are national games. So what they do is they set up a deal, and it's like, I think it's $70 for the season, and I can stream any out-of-market game that I can't. So any game I can't turn on a TV and watch, I can stream for the whole season. So it gives me access to every other team. I can watch all the games on Saturdays. I can watch anything else that's going on. And you know what? At the end of it, I'm okay with that. I'm an MLS Live subscriber because sometimes, like I'm watching it, if the Red Bulls are away, I'll put that on. But if they're playing a 3 o'clock in the afternoon game on the road, they play at there's 4 o'clock ones, 6 o'clock, 7, 9. I don't get to see a lot of the West Coast teams. You want to see those other ones. I think even if you did a small fee, if it was 25, 30 bucks, 30 pounds, whatever it is, my guess is you'd have a huge number of people that would say, you know what, fine, it's not that big a deal, sign me up, and then I can go on, and if it's anything other than the feature game that you're going to put on TV, I can go ahead and watch. I suspect you'd have people all over the place who would be willing to pay for it.
Completely agree. £30. Subscribe to the PremierLeague.com, for example, which is just their official site. I'm not plugging some random thing. You subscribe to that, you have access to Premier League Live. As Colin says, you can just go and pick any game you want. As you say, how many millions would sign up? I think a lot.
I think that you'd be making. I think they'd be making a tremendous amount of money pretty quickly.
And let's not forget that the day after the games are played on MLSsoccer.com, you can then go and watch the highlights for free.
Absolutely. I mean, all the infrastructure is already there, right? Because all the games are being televised by somebody. Exactly what you said, right? With the Premier League, they're already shipping the feed all over the world. So there's already. The cameras are already there. The feeds are already there. They're already broadcasting it all over the place. Okay, so just pipe the game out there, and most of them are already being commentated anyway for the world feeds, so that there's something going on. So it's not like you're really paying any more to produce the content to put it out there. You're just gonna open it up and make more revenue by putting it out there.
I agree. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's all down to the people who own the rights to show the highlights first. The people, you've got the Sky programme running on a Saturday evening. I think it's called First Choice or Match Choice, and they own the rights to be able to show any game fully before the highlights can be shown on any other channel, for example. And these kind of things are what are ruining football. Certain companies owning certain rights to show certain things before anyone else has the right to do it. Match of the Day has the right to show the highlights before any other channel can show the highlights. That show on Channel 5 on a Saturday night owns the rights to show the league game highlights before anybody else, or Sky shows them first, but it has to be so many minutes of a game before. It's insane. Welcome to the Premier League, and welcome to how England screws people over, it appears. Because around the world you can see more of the English League than you can in England. Stupidity, I think, would be the best word for it. But we have managed to actually use a whole show on one topic. So that is the end of the show. Ryan, as always, thank you. Good job you cut in and out. Good work with that. Oh yeah, mint. Colin, as always, sir.
Always a pleasure.
And I'm now going to just mumble very slightly until the outro kicks in, but we will see you all next week for Beyond the Touchline.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Touchline, a Football Manager Central podcast with your hosts, Paul, Ryan, and Colin. We'll catch you next time.